Okay, so it's been a year and a half since I bought this Keystone Cougar 25 RDS and did about a 25-minute review last year on it. Anyway, just thought I'd give a couple thoughts on what I think of it after quite a few trips to the racetracks and stacking up against all the challenges out there and all the other trailers that I've looked at as well since then. So if you haven't seen my first video, we bought this truck for the racetrack for motocross and some BMX racing. So had to have a good easy floor plan to live with and not too long, and something that would look cool as well. So first, right off the bat, I got a little carried away with some auto vinyl wrap and did about 2 months worth of work on my spare time, and went a little wild and blacked out the doors and did stripped almost all the stock graphics off and added that. This way it makes it easier for me to find my trailer at the racetrack, because in a sea of trailers sometimes I get a little lazy and I just look for all the slashy graphics, and then I find it. So one thing that I did right off the bat that I highly recommend is to replace the offshore tires and get these Goodyear Endurance. These things have been flawless, and I drive a little with less worries going down the road, not worrying about them blowing up. And then also, one thing I did early on is I added this MoreRide equalizer setup here, and it has a rubber suspension in there, and it makes the trailer really nice going down the road. I don't get any of the bucking anymore when I hit, particularly like a expansion joint, that when I'm going over bridges, it would normally like bump into my hitch and I'd feel it right into my truck. And with this thing on here now, I don't even feel it. It just floats right over all the expansion joints. And then secondly, I added these frame braces that connect each leaf spring U bracket there that's welded to the frame. Normally that's all there is holding these leaf springs and the axles and wheels to the frame is just a couple of these brackets onto the frame. So these frame braces kind of square it up and box it in, so now I have a boxed structure. And you'll see that I have one on the front and rear leaf spring, and also in the middle where the equalizer is. So I can't really say I notice it, but it does box that whole frame, and I know that I'm not going to get any twisting when I turn that could puts a lot of stress on the leaf spring hangers there. So I've heard stories of some that bend and break, and so it was a cheap addition to do that. And then I switched out the wheels to black when I went to the new Goodyear Endurance. So up front I added the generator tray here, and then I also ran some lights just to light it up a little more. And then I did get a warranty repair notice from Keystone saying that this pressure regulator was defective and it could catch fire. So instead of hitching my trailer up and driving 8 hours down to Colton where I bought it, since my local dealer here is not too friendly, since I didn't buy it from here, so they didn't want to work on it. Anyway, this thing cost me 30 bucks and I replaced it myself, so it was an easy fix. And then while I was at it, I added these right here. These do not come from the factory this way, and without something like this, you don't know how much propane is in your tanks. So that always kind of was a head scratcher to me. And when I found these online, they just screw into the tank, and then your line screws into the gauge. And so now I know how much propane I have in each tank. So great addition, and I think it was 25 bucks. So generator tray, lights, and took care of the warranty repair myself, and got the propane gauges on there. And on the driver's side, pretty straightforward. No problems, no leaks. Slide works good. I will point out something I do not like about most travel trailers in general is the frame tubes when they weld them up to the coupler right here. It's just a little tight, and so my sway bar setup at almost full lock will touch the frame. So you can see how I've damaged the edge of the frame there. Not a big deal, but just still something that Keystone should probably shorten up that frame tube just a touch and maybe box that in and weld a plate over that, just because being open like that, it's not really super strong. So anyway, not really a structural problem, but I don't like it when I see damage for such a simple thing like turning. Update on my I put some insulation in here. I saw a little trick on YouTube where you can buy some 1-inch thick foam sheets at any of your big home repair stores. Anyway, these things cut out real simply with a razor blade, and you can just shove them in between the aluminum tubes. And so I did it all the way from top to the side to the back here, and this helps insulate your bedroom, which is, your bed is just above this. So without these, I could feel the cabinets being a little cool, especially when it's winter time. And so when I put this 1-inch foam core board in here, I think it was, the whole board was like $30. So I just cut them out, put them in there, and put some glue in there, and I do not feel that the cabinets are cold anymore. So it just helps insulate it a little bit better. Easy addition, so I recommend that. Another thing I did is, early on I noticed that I only had one amber running lamp at the very front and a red all the way at the back. So when you're towing this trailer at night and you get some of these people that aren't paying attention, I'll pass them with my truck and then they don't see the trailer. So I've had a couple close calls. So these things you can buy online, and real simple. I just wired them into the existing wiring, and so I added an amber there and an amber there. Same thing with the other side, so just lights up the side of the trailer, and it's not so dark in the middle as I'm passing somebody. I really like this step. It's a little bit, it's not as simple as just pulling it out from underneath the trailer like the master bedroom one is, but this one, once you get it, open the door and you swing it down, it's really super solid. And especially if you've had a beer or two, you're probably not going to land on your head, especially like that one up there. That's the old school way, always worked fine, but now that they start speccing these on the trailers, really like it. So interior, overall, haven't made a lot of changes in here, just because it's been a great floor plan from the very start. The big U-shaped dinette, we use it all the time. The table is cool because it's not attached, and you can lower it into a coffee table. You can swing that over here in front of the love seat here. And so we got a coffee table here. And then also we searched for this trailer with this love seat versus the theater seats. The theater seats look cool and actually are a little more comfortable, but there's no bed with the theater seats. So we use this a lot as a primary bed or a secondary bed to the master. That one's also a bed, but it takes a little more work to move all the cushions and everything. So this one is really useful to us as a bed. So I wouldn't buy this trailer if it had the theater seats. We added the mirror. Some things that have happened since we've had the trailer, little nitpicky stuff. This trim piece right here fell off. Took a little bit of Gorilla Glue, got that fixed. So not a big deal. I know some people just go off on travel trailers that, you know, trim pieces fall off and things rattle loose, but the reality is these things are, you know, high production items. Some of these people have not been with trailer manufacturers a long time. I actually used to be in the industry, so some of those people don't always take pride in their work. So there is some things that you have to do when you buy a travel trailer, and just not complain about it. One thing I really like about this floor plan is the fact that there's not a big wall unit right here with a TV, because if there's a wall unit there, you don't have a window and you don't have a countertop. So when we saw this, that the TV was up here and then you had a full countertop that wrapped all the way around, that was immediately drew our attention to it. Because believe it or not, this is probably the most widely used part of this trailer, is that countertop right there for everything. Highly useful to us. I did add the backsplash here. It looked really cool online. My wife kind of doesn't like it. so she's complained to me that she'd like to see this removed. But it took me better part of 2 evenings after work to disassemble some things along the wall to get that in just right. So we'll leave it for a while, but it is a little more busy looking once you get that many pieces in here. But anyway, it does make a backsplash all the way up underneath the cabinet, so it looks a little more finished. The stock Keystone stuff, I think, had backsplash just over behind the stove and a little bit over the sink, and it just looked unfinished. And other thing that was, here's what's funny is you'll see some reviews, and it might even be the same year trailer, and other trailers have USB ports right here. So sometimes I feel ripped off, like, wait, how come they got USB ports and all I got is 2 blank squares there? And anyway, found out it wasn't much of a problem because there's a plug-in unit up here, and you can, so I bought this little 4 plug-in deal, and it has USB ports on the bottom. So this works really well for putting our phones there and charging there. So I don't really feel like I'm going to cry anytime soon because there's no USB ports there. And oddly on this, even some of the same model years will have like a rounded corner on this dinette, and they don't have the drawers, which I find odd. Maybe it's just they use what they have available with the supply chain problem, but I do like this version because I've got drawers on each side. Although the rounded corners are nice because you never catch your legs. Every once in a while you might catch a leg on the corner, but just got to be careful. Regarding the sink, I prefer one big single sink. I'm not sure why anybody would like a dual sink. Seems like all of our pots and pans are always bigger than a sink that's split in half. So in a perfect world, that would be a single bowl, but just a small irritation more than anything. Stove works fine, microwave works good. One tiny little thing I did that my wife made me do, and I didn't even know until she pointed out. This upper cabinet here is only a half cabinet for a base, and then it continues on underneath. And so if you stack anything up here, it'll slide right off and fall down in here. So I just bought a little piece of wood and Gorilla Glued it right there on the edge. So most anything now up here will just slide and hit that edge. So again, like a $2 fix, and took care of that problem that Keystone probably should have taken care of from the factory. Okay, let's talk about the refrigerator. It sure looks nice, but I have to say this Dometic is a piece of garbage. I don't know how else to say it. It's the 110 electric propane. When it was working, or when it does work, it doesn't keep the food as cool as I would like. And honestly, it hasn't worked now in a little while, a couple months. So we've tried everything. I've replaced some different components in it, and I think I'm to the point now where I'm going to just tear this thing out, and maybe I'll do another video, although I think it's covered well by others. But this is going to come out, and I believe the brand is Vitrifrigo. I don't know if it's an Italian refrigerator, but they make them for yachts and hotels, and it's 12 volt, and they're really, really nice. And I'll be able to take this from like an 8 cubic foot to a 10 cubic foot, and we'll just go straight to a 12 volt only. So it'll work. It'll work better for us, especially because I've got 650 watts of solar panels on the roof and a lithium battery, so I've got plenty of power to charge a refrigerator. So that's probably the biggest fail. I wouldn't call that a fail on Keystone, just because all these, third-party parts suppliers, the big companies depend on them. However, even though all my trailers and motorhomes have always had a LVP, electric fridge, I'm just over it, and so I'm going to go to 12 volt, but I think that Vitrifrigo is it's going to be like $3,000 when it's all said and done. So I got too many other race parts to buy right now, so that's just going to have to wait. So we just throw a couple ice chests in here, and we deal with it. We live out of ice chests when we're at the racetrack at the moment. We are off to another race next weekend in Calaveras County. So we'll be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we're already starting our preload on Labor Day weekend. We should be out partying at the lake, but instead we're getting the race headquarters ready. Working our way forward. Everything's been really good so far. I really like this bathroom. That's the mid bath. The floor plans I've seen where they put them all the way in the back, it just it doesn't work as well for me. Not the way we just have racers in and out and different riders, you know, going in for different motos, and so we're always in and out, and so having a big dinette and a couch like this works well, and then the bathroom is a little more out of the way, and no complaints. Lots of room with this one, no leaks. Only thing I would say is, and this is probably just inherent with any toilet like this, is there's not a lot of water that fills the bowl. So when you flush it, sometimes the toilet paper will kind of get caught down into the tube below the toilet. So sometimes we have to get a stick or pour additional water, which is why we have that bottle there. So we just kind of load it up, overload it with water, and flush it again, and usually that clears it. But minor irritation, but again, it's not Keystone's fault, but you know, it's just the things you have to accept when you're in a travel trailer. It's not a house. Let's see, you know, I did do a couple things. I think I talked about this on our first video. Sometimes the lack of fit and finish is noticeable to me. So I bought some small baseboard sticks, and I put baseboard on the edge here, and I put baseboard behind the toilet, and there's some baseboard down here. Just little things that you might not even notice unless somebody pointed them out, but I'm a little more of a fit and finish guy, so to me it was important just to go ahead and finish that off. I like the sink. It kind of tapers in, so there's plenty of room. And then bedroom, as I said, we're getting ready for a race, so my helmets usually are the first to come in. I think I got like 12, but I'll bring like 4 or 5 of my favorite ones, and then I switch out. This is the Western edition, so we do not have the windshield, and I really wish there was one somewhere on the West Coast. When I was looking, I would have bought it, because to me it's a little dark just having wallpaper rather than a window, but it is what it is. So, but otherwise really functional, and it is a king bed, which was literally what separated this from some of the other close contenders for us, was getting a king bed. We're just used to that at home. One little minor gripe, and I think it's something that some designer should maybe think a little more about. These cabinets kind of overlap the bed just a little bit, and the corners are very sharp. So I have been in the hospital before getting stitches, and I would really hate to roll over in my sleep and hit a corner and have to go to the hospital and say I bumped my head in my trailer for the reason that I'm in the hospital. That's just it's not a cool reason to hurt yourself. Okay, while I'm on this, so these windows and doors are made for whatever brand of little window covering. These little accordion things of paper, they're horrible. They're garbage. I've already torn the other one out today. It kind of bothered me enough. They fall apart. They get hot in the sun. They don't close right, and they're just crap. So I know if you buy this, you'll see a sticker that says this is made for a whatever the heck it is window covering, and they snap in, and it's hallelujah. Well, fact of the matter is they are absolute garbage. They're even at 25, 30 bucks for a pair. I don't know what they are. They're not worth it. So I'm probably just going to cut a piece of cloth and have some Velcro, and we'll just Velcro that with cloth if we need to. So absolute garbage. Don't buy it. And let's see, back this way, you will see on some videos too that Keystone switches to a roller door right here. And so this door rolls behind the toilet. I'm not sure why. I don't think it's functionally an improvement for this one, but anyway, we have just the hinged door that swings open and works great for us. So, but you will see some variations that I kind of find odd. But overall interior, I would give it an A plus. They're just really, one little trim piece fell off, and everything else works. Other than, like I said, of course, the most expensive component that you can put in here, the refrigerator. The refrigerator's garbage. If I would have had the time and be willing to travel maybe out to Colorado or something, I might have been able to find one that had a 12-volt refrigerator, but there weren't very many at the time that Keystone was speccing that way. So to find a 12-volt fridge and one without the theater seats probably would have been slim to none, because most of these trailers have the theater seat, which I absolutely said was a deal breaker because I needed this as a bed. Anyway, new fridge in my future. It's not something I look forward to, but it'll be really cool to get this Italian piece, whatever it is, Vitrafrigo, and maybe it'll work right. All right, so to sum up my 18-month experience with the Keystone Cougar 25 RDS HTWE, I don't know how many more letters and numbers they can actually cram into a model, but Western edition of the 25 RDS 2021. I would say this would still be my number one choice, and I continually look at all the other options out there just because it's fun. I would say the Outdoors RV made out of Pendleton, Oregon might be my second favorite, just for like build quality and the floor plans and stuff. But the only thing I don't like about the Outdoors RV, unless it's something they changed for 2023, is that they're still really dark interiors, chocolate brown cabinets, and it seems like the couches and the love seats are like chocolate brown. And I don't know, maybe they've changed that since then, but if they lightened up the interior colors, I would probably say that the outdoor RVs might be right there as a contender with the Keystone Cougar. The Jayco has a nice one, although I think the one we were comparing it to was like a 28-foot, and kind of getting to the point where it's a little long for me, just getting in and out of racetracks and things like that. I kind of wanted to stay, less than 30 feet overall, bumper to hitch. So the 25-foot Cougar really seems to continue to fill the bill. Love the king-size bed. I love the U-shaped dinette, and it tows well, looks good. The fit and finishes for a travel trailer has been actually exceeded my expectations. There's always trim pieces and things like that that aren't gonna stay on forever. And then underneath, I also caulked all the sides to the floors, just because there's a little gap there sometimes, just to make sure that there's no water or mice or something that can get in. So there's a little bit of work that you have to do to them, but after 18 months, it still looks brand new and behaves like it's brand new. Again, the only caveat being that refrigerator is terrible, and I think it's still under warranty, but I don't have the time or the patience to drive 8 hours back to Colton, California from Sacramento. So I'm gonna tear it out myself, and I'll order up this other 12-volt fridge, and I'll get that put in, and we'll put that problem to rest. But I would have to say, my opinion would be, you can't go wrong, and based on pricing, if you can get it off of MSRP like I did, these things, if you can get them under 45-ish or something like that, it's a great price. Some of these other ones that we were comparing to, the Jayco and the Outdoors RV, are unless they discount them, they were well over 50. So for the price and what you get, I am quite happy. My wife's quite happy. The kids love it, and it's been a great addition. I don't think we'll replace it anytime soon. So hopefully that helps everyone with their search for a travel trailer. Highly recommend it. Just look them over real nice, and check your refrigerator. Make sure that thing works. Make them plug it in, and make sure those darn lights come on and it starts getting cool, because that's been my only kind of true failure, is the refrigerator. But frame and axles and fit and finish, walls, roof, everything else is solid. So good luck. Maybe see you at the racetrack, and keep it on two wheels.